What's good? Welcome in. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report, and today's show is presented by Manscaped. Join the 9 million men who have purchased the most elite men's grooming products. Manscaped.com/49ers. 20% off if you use the code 49ers. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. So it's Dallas week here on the San Francisco 49ers Report, and there are so many marquee storylines with this football team right now. One of two teams in the NFL that's 4-0. They've looked dominant in a lot of phases in every game so far this year. Their performance against Arizona was a really good one on both sides of the ball, but we can also nitpick a little bit and talk about some negatives and some areas in which the Niners could get a little bit better. But it sets the stage for what is going to be a legendary matchup on Sunday Night Football, in my opinion, between San Francisco and Dallas. We already did a preview for this game, so make sure you check that out here on the Niners Report channel as well. Let's start off with Lyle Bolyard here. $20 donation, and he makes some good points here. And he's very good with this observation as far as where the weakness lies on this Niners team. I hear people saying we need a number 2 cornerback, but I think we need a big-name defensive lineman to get more sacks and pressure on the quarterback. So I want to focus on the cornerback position because I think that's the biggest need for this team. And you mentioned that, Lyle. You think it's defensive line. The 49ers have been able to pressure the quarterback. That hasn't always resulted into great sack numbers. But Javon Hargrave, number 1 rated defensive tackle in the league, according to Pro Football Focus. You have Nick Bosa, who's the highest graded defender in the National Football League throughout the first 4 weeks of the year. Drake Jackson accumulating a lot of pressures. Eric Armstead has been really good. I like where this Niners defensive line is right now. Now, we'll see how they fare against a Dallas Cowboys team that has some intriguing weapons with CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks and Dak Prescott. They don't have Ezekiel Elliott any longer, but Tony Pollard, who actually broke his ankle against the Niners in the playoffs last year, very solid back who's been very dynamic. Rico Dowdle, a pretty good player too. So I don't think it's defensive line. I think it's cornerback. And yesterday we saw Isaiah Oliver get taken out. Ambry Thomas replaces him. And Ambry Thomas gave up a couple of big plays. And Ambry Thomas has been a player who's been way too inconsistent in his career so far. And I love Charvarius Ward. I love Talanoa Hufanga, Deshaun Gibson. That safety tandem has been one of the highest graded safety tandems in the NFL. In fact, they haven't given up a lot of explosive plays as safeties when targeted. Niners linebacking core is really good. The one position that I look at, kind of like how we looked at running back last year because Elijah Mitchell continued to get hurt. Nobody really rose up to the occasion, and Cream didn't rise to the crop. We're like, why not make a trade for Christian McCaffrey? We talked about it on the show, and he has added so much to this team. So when you talk about that cornerback spot, do you try to make a trade for a Patrick Surtain and make a splash for a Broncos team that's awful and could be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes? They might decide to sell, and the Niners have some draft capital to give up for a player like Patrick Surtain. Or do you go with the cornerback who might not be that expensive, might not be as good as a Surtain II, but can get the job done? A Steven Nelson on the Houston Texans. Although D'Amico Ryans kind of has it going on in H-Town here with back-to-back victories as C.J. Stroud is playing really well. I would look at and survey the cornerback market because when the playoffs come around, you're looking to compete for a Super Bowl. You're going to be going up against elite quarterbacks. I think you can get that pass rush. Can you hold up on that back end? Mike Cutcho, $10 donation. Appreciate you. Ronnie Steele with the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, my brother. I love the profile picture as well. What's up, Chase? Still hyped about our last win. Who do you think will be the key guy on our offense that steps up and destroys the Cowboys defense? Have the Niners fixed their offensive line issues? So let's first show the quarterback pressures given up against Arizona. Every week this year, I think that the Niners offensive line has been able to take some strides and make some improvements. Week 1, it was not good. Colton McKivitz especially really struggled against TJ Watt. Week 2, a little bit better. Week 3, even more progress. Week 4, against Arizona, they almost had a clean sheet. Only 3 quarterback pressures given up in the entire game. Spencer Burford with 1, Trent Williams with 1, Colton McKivitz with 1. So the Niners offensive line has made some improvements and adjustments, but that could all fizzle away very quickly if McKivitz struggles against Micah Parsons and the Cowboys, who have a very good defensive line, about 2 guys deep, and every single possession, wreak havoc and take over this game. So that's kind of a TBD for me. This is the test to determine the Niners' offensive line talent and where they stand. I understand why you're hyped up about that Cardinals win, for sure. The key guy on offense that has to step up, look, you want to continue to rely on Christian McCaffrey. I know a lot of people are worried about the workload, but it's impossible to not feed him the football when he's producing like he is right now, with all-purpose yards, catching it, and running it. And the dynamic ability that he has to run in between the tackles, get outside, catch a screen pass, catch a bubble screen, line up at wide receiver, and make a play on a critical third down. Like, he is the guy who's made this Niners offense just take that next step. But let me also throw out Deebo Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk. I think that the Cowboys secondary, especially without Trayvon Diggs, is lacking some talent and ability to consistently lock up Deebo and Aiyuk. You have Aiyuk, he's gone over 100 yards in both games that he's been fully healthy this year. Deebo was great 2 Thursdays ago against the New York Giants. And can you get George Kittle involved? Like, that's what I want to see from Kyle Shanahan and this Niners offense. You have so many weapons. Can you just hit the Cowboys with so much? And you spread the ball out, sideline to sideline, vertically, running it, throwing it, creativity, pre-snap motion, where you confuse them and you make them play on their heels. I think so. El Nano. But obviously Brock Purdy's going to have to play, because if he doesn't play well, I should say, you need Brock Purdy to play well, because if he doesn't play well, I don't care who steps up. You get bad quarterback play, going to be really difficult to beat the Dallas Cowboys. El Nano with the 5. Would you rather, for a long-term deal, keep and retire a Niner, Greenlaw and Warner or Kittle and CMC? This is a really, really difficult question. If y'all want to answer it in the chat, you can as well. If there were 2 Niners that I could keep right now and retire a Niner, one of them has to be Fred Warner, because I think he could go down in a franchise that has great linebacker history that's very rich. He might be and could go down as the best linebacker in the history of the San Francisco 49ers. What he's doing is tremendous. We remember last year in that divisional round, him going step for step with CD Lamb down that seam. On Sunday against Arizona, he was running with Hollywood Brown, who everybody just was enamored with his speed coming out of Oklahoma. So Fred Warner has to be one. And I know that CMC is an MVP candidate right now, but George Kittle is thought of more so as a lifelong Niner as compared to CMC. So maybe Warner, Kittle, but that's really, really difficult. MVP so far. This has been an ongoing debate in our office and among the fan base this week, so now we open up the floor for you to answer that question. BP for Brock Purdy, CMC for Christian McCaffrey. You can join the conversation down in the comment section, and you can answer for yourselves. It is certainly very close. I think it's been McCaffrey with the slight nod. Now, today's show brought to you today by Manscaped, who has taken a step up from Balloween, not Halloween, to bring your face the cleanest shave it's ever seen. So this season, no need to toil and trouble. Manscaped's all-new Handyman, the best way to get rid of that stubble, featuring a compact design, next-gen skin-safe technology. The Handyman was designed to give you that smooth finish without the mess of a traditional shave. Get the sweetest treat this Halloween by going to manscaped.com/49ers. Code 49ers for 20% off and free shipping. Are you tired of a bad razor making your neck look like a scary movie? I have pretty sensitive skin. That's happened to me before with bad razors. Not any longer with Manscaped. With the Handyman Skin Safe technology, it reduces nicks and cuts. You can finally feel confident when going for that close shave. For wet or dry use, feel free to bring this anywhere and everywhere. Compact design, airplane friendliness as well to make it the perfect travel tool. It's manscaped.com/49ers. Link is available for you down in the comment section and in the description of this video. El Nano with the $10 super chat here. Let's say we do get Patrick Surtain II. Do you think that we would have to let go of a future renew contract as in Aiyuk? No, I don't think that you'd have to do that. I mean, you have $41+ million in cap space right now. So you can use it to absorb a contract like Surtain, and I'll get you those numbers here. You can roll it over to use for a Brandon Aiyuk contract, a Talanoa Hufanga contract. You can continue to try to save some money down the road for a player like Brock Purdy. But Surtain going to be an unrestricted free agent in 2026. This year, base salary $940,000, a dead cap charge of 12.3, a cap hit of 5.7. Because we're in the midst of the season, the Broncos would most likely have to eat some of that and already have. And then in 2024, $1 million in base salary, $6.6 million cap hit, a dead cap messed it up again. A dead cap hit charge of 6.6 mil. So that's pretty interesting. He got $20 million guaranteed at signing on that 4-year, $20.96 million deal when he was that draft choice for Denver out of Alabama in the first round, 9th overall. Black Mask. 49ers cannot be giving up 99-yard drives. That is unacceptable. Love our D, but they need to tighten up. I agree. It's unacceptable to give up 99 yards to a team like the Arizona Cardinals. I think what people sometimes lose track of is just how good NFL players are. And, the Niners, they were really good defensively all throughout the day. That's why it was so surprising for them to give up a 99-yard drive. And you're like, how do you give this up to a guy like Josh Dobbs? I think at that point, you're up big. You're playing some prevent defense. You don't want to give up the big play. I'd have a change in philosophy, and that's where I kind of agree with you, Black Mask. Like, I would get a little bit more aggressive. If Josh Dobbs beats me over the top, he beats me over the top. Let me eat. Let me generate that pass rush. Let me try to bother the quarterback. Stop your run game. And I don't care about keeping everything in front of me, right? I'm going to try to get after it, be aggressive, and make you beat me over the top. And if that happens and you get beat with the big play, well, you already gave up a 99-yard drive anyway. But if that continues to be a trend, clock-eating drives, yes, then that is going to be a little bit problematic for San Francisco. Xavier Garcia, how do I make the most out of my first time visiting Levi's? So, Xavier, I've actually never been to Levi's, but this will be the site of the Super Bowl in a couple of years. What I would do and what I want to do visiting Levi's for the first time, I would try to find some really good food spots in the Bay Area. I've always wanted to visit Alcatraz. I've always wanted to visit the Golden Gate Bridge. I'd go on a little bit of a hike. I would see in the lead up to that game, depending on when you're getting there, if you could take a little bit of a stadium tour. Obviously, the Niners as an organization have such a great history, most of that at Candlestick Park. But I would try to make the most of it. Eat good, be a tourist, go on a hike, break a sweat a little bit, sleep a little bit. Even though Trey said that if you're on a little vacay, maybe you don't want to sleep all that much. Take a stadium tour, check out the facilities a little bit. I'm a big tailgate guy. I would drink many beers before the game and eat a lot of burgers. That's what I would do. So I hope you have a good time. And if you want to check in with us during our watch party while you're at the game, get in touch with us as we're live. Send us some photos and let us know, and we'll get you on the show. Keys to a great day at a Niner game. Help out our guy. We want to hear from you. He wants to hear from you. So you can go back, actually, going back to that previous question, and check the comment section, and maybe a day or two, you can see for yourself.